You've been given $1 million, but you're not allowed to work and have to make it last your lifetime. How would you go about doing so? $1 million US? Could I move to like Thailand or something and live on like $10k USD a year? Not allowed to work or not allowed to get paid for work? Because if it's the second, I'd just finish a dozen or so projects on my farm and raise my own food and not worry about selling any. Invest the rest to cover taxes and fun stuff and I'm good. I also choose this guy's farm. Invest everything in a meat flavored condom startup. The one good and obvious answer. I'm legitimately curious now. People who hate giving head, would this make it better? Depends heavily on what counts as work. Does managing personal investments count? Does managing properties you own count as work? Do all forms of income count as work? Does wiping your own butt count as work? Or do I have to hire that out? Ah yes, the butler. Mutual funds and living below my means. I'd start a homestead and become so self-sufficient that I'd barely have to spend the rest of my money. And with that I mean grow all my own foods, not to sell. Seeing that might be considered as work. It's my dream anyway. Edited because people are being dicks about the word farm. Also, thanks for being rude. But why did everyone assume I meant a big ass ducking farm? If all I want to do is grow food for myself, then of course I don't need acres of land. 1 million lotto tickets please. Lol. I'm gonna make a quick script that allows me to fake try that. See how many pulls I need before I win. I came across a couple of online lottery simulators. In all cases, after over 200 years, I never won but once. And I lost many thousands of dollars overall. That's why I say it makes just as much sense to simply hope that some random person will just knock on your door and hand you $20 million for no reason. Well, I'm 54. It wouldn't be that difficult. 25,000 a year would last me 40 years. No way am I living that long. I can easily get by on that. Return to the stock market would easily cover 25k a year, regardless of how pessimistic you are. Break it up into 20 years at 50k a year installments to myself. Let the rest collect interest. Probably even move to LCOL for higher purchasing power out of that 50k. 70% bonds / 30% conservative dividend stocks. Live off the interest. Reinvest any extra. Don't spend more than that without a firm death date, like a terminal diagnosis. Once you get a firm death date, you YOLO that shit on options. Fuck your stupid kids. What did they do to earn that money? Spend almost 3 grand a day on hookers and blow for a year, then die. All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine. When I was in my early 20s, I went on a Tinder date and the guy ended up being super douchey. He kept bragging about how much money he made and how he was going to overthrow the boss at his company soon because he was so amazing. How he took Uber to work every day because the bus was gross and paid a crazy high rent since he didn't want roommates. And then he said, in complete seriousness, my goal is to save $1 million by the time I'm 30 and never have to work again. I literally laughed out loud and was like $1 million isn't that much. He was so mad. And I started doing the math. Like, you pay 3k a month for a studio and will probably live at least 40 to 50 years after you turn 30. So either you need to seriously change your lifestyle, unlikely for this tech bro, or save up way more than $1 million to think you can live the rent of your life on just your savings. I still think about it and chuckle every once in a while. He was a jerk. Part of me misses online dating because of shit like this. I love meeting crazies, making sure they didn't see my car or follow me home, and telling everyone I knew about the nutcase I'd just met. I had a man ask me to marry him at the end of the first date. I met a guy who had an C fraternity tattoo, owned 2 puppies, and planned to travel the world because COVID made everything so cheap. I think he got stuck abroad briefly. Once a man brought half a dozen Funko Pops to our first date. A guy called me sheltered for liking a Panic at the Disco song. I wasn't trying to be edgy. I wore a pink sweater and duck boots on this date. The highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. I met my partner online and he's amazing. but he's just not totally freaking crazy. Online dating was a hoot. Man, I feel you about kinda missing it. It's like retail. I miss the crazy stories, but not actually living the craziness. Just buy $1 million Goldack and kill myself with it. Bah. Pick up a McLaren. Drive to Grand Canyon. Thelma and Louise. Buy a tiny house in Mexico. I'm 40. Might live to 70. That million will last me. I live in Mexico. I'm pretty independent. Have a ranch in a little village. A lot less violence than in the US. I'm American. I can live on very little if I wanted to, so this would work for me. I might get bored, but there's the beach which never is boring. I like to work though. Do I only have to pay $750 in taxes on it? Only if you get $70. $0 haircuts. Real estate equals passive income every month, baby. But would that passive income beat other investments? An example where I live, my residence cost about $200,000 and would rent for about $1,400 a month. That comes out to about an 8% return. Different sites claim the average return in investment gets between 10 and 14%. That ignore equity for the real estate and dividends for the stock. 200k rents for $1,400? Dude, that's the best market I ever heard for owners. Here in Montreal I rent a $600k apartment for $1,600. All CAD. This isn't even a challenge. If I had $1 million to last me the rest of my life, I'd be living way better and spending a lot more than I'm right now. Ed works some basic living wage job that breaks the rules. I'm a millionaire. Rules don't apply to me anymore. Not allowed to work or not allowed to have other sources of income? If just not allowed to work, we'd be set for life. My husband doesn't work, on disability, and $1 million would be more than I currently make in a lifetime. So we'd come out ahead without having to make any changes. So if I kill myself on the spot, I complete the task, is what you are saying? Does investing count as work? Does hiring an investment person? Dig a hole in the desert and bury all the money, then live in the jungle like a caveman surviving on berries and leaves. Come back to that spot in the desert at age 50 and then live an extravagant, pompous British fashion designer. Inflation would like a word. Keep where I'm now. If I do anything else, it'll all be gone within the year. I'd spend that million on food and bills. Moving or buying a new car would take all of my money. $1 million really isn't that much. Yeah, I'd take a hard pass on this arrangement. In and around major US cities as well as countless other places around the world, living off $1 million with no other source of income will leave you really broke pretty quickly. Health insurance and medical expenses alone could easily eat up every last penny depending on your age and health condition. Stock or make a money making bank account and allow it to accumulate a shit ton of more money. Just live within my means like normal. Don't spend frivolously. $1 million is a lot of money. I could easily stretch it for a lifetime. Definitely not a lot of money for the average working family in America long term. Luckily, I'm single. I could do it. Have a little more than that saved for retirement right now. And I could quit working. But I still work for extra night and weekend pay since my hospital is short on nurses right now. From some of these replies you'd be surprised that a lot of people lived a long life and didn't even make $1 million USD in their lifetime. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.